Well, thank you for having me this morning. I guess I would have to say my journey of addiction started when I was 12 years old. It started with alcohol and marijuana and then quickly progressed to opiate pills. Back when I was 12, 13, into low teenage years, Windber was being polluted with opiate pills, and they were so easy and readily available. And at such a young age, I had no idea that one mistake, two mistakes would affect my entire life.
So how long did it take from when you went to alcohol, marijuana? Did you start pills right away, pretty much?
I would say all within the same year. And it gradually became heroin because at such a young child, you don't have money. And those pills were upward costs of $60 a piece.
At a point, you have to say, okay, I'm taking prescription pills. Now I'm going to do heroin. Do you remember that at all?
I think I was just so young that I didn't really grasp the concept of what was going on. I was just kind of following the crowd, and my body was already dependent on it, so the thought process really didn't occur. It just happened.
And because of the price point?
Absolutely.
It was just a lot cheaper.
Yes.
Now, have you ever had any overdoses?
Thankfully, no.
That's good.
I have never even come close to an overdose. People are affected in different ways to different chemicals. Some may nod off and fall asleep, but others may get energy from it. And to me, those pills made me function proper, made me be able to get up and go and do what I needed to do for the day. And without it, buckled over in pain and sick.
Did you have any pain, or were you just doing it to be a partier?
I've given this question a lot of thought over the years of my recovery, and I can't honestly say I know the answer to that, but if I had to put an answer behind it, I believe a lot of mental illness and traumas that I underwent as a younger person affected that, and I was trying to numb and block those feelings and emotions.
People react and do things different. You do things a lot differently than I would.
Absolutely.
In an emotional state.
Right.
So whereas my emotional state may be something else, you would go, I'm taking pills.
Absolutely.
So that it's just all on the person. Mm-hmm. How about family life? Tell me about home for you. My
family life was pretty much normal. My father and mother were both working. They were both active in my life, more so my mother than my father. My father was an alcoholic. Now, he was a functioning alcoholic. He got up and went to work every day. He was out of town majority of my life. So when I was younger, a lot of my time on the weekends was spent in the garage with my dad drinking. He drank with us at an underage
How old
point.
were you?
12, 13.
Oh, wow.
I remember the one time before he had drank with us, I would, sneak a little bit out of the bottle and put some water in. And he would say, I don't care if you're going to take my liquor, but don't put water in it.
Oh, my.
Not don't take my liquor.
So you never thought it was bad in your home to drink it?
I mean, I was told don't do drugs, that it's bad in alcohol, the drug awareness programs, the DARE. My mom slightly skimmed over it with us. But back then, things weren't spoken as they are now.
See, I can't imagine, like, in my home, my parents didn't drink really ever.
Excessively.
Right? Well, I mean, they didn't even drink, really. They occasionally had a drink for
celebration,
Christmas.
Right. Normalcy.
I'm not saying that is the way you have to be, because certainly I have drinks too, but I can't imagine drinking with my 12-year-old.
No. I have children now, and my job is to protect them.
Have you confronted your dad about that?
Currently, we do not speak. We haven't spoke for years, and I don't know that relationship will ever be repaired.
How about mom?
My mom is amazing. She has always been my support. She's never given up. She's given me the tough love that I absolutely needed, but she's never given up on me.
At what point did you say, all right, I'm going to be dead soon, or what happened?
My active addiction stemmed for about 15 years on and off, and I've had countless times where I've become clean, cold turkey myself, but I've always chronically relapsed. There just came a point where I was tired of being controlled. I wanted the control back. I remember laying on the floor crying because the drugs were there, but I didn't want to do them, but I had to do them. And it was just like, I've had enough. That aha moment, I guess. Nothing necessarily led to it. I didn't overdose. I didn't, it just came to me like, this is not my life. This
like
is not who I
epiphany.
am. Yeah. And that's when I called the methadone clinic and I got on the waiting list and I became able to function in life.
Now, a lot of people will say, oh, methadone, that's just as bad.
There are a lot of misconceptions regarding the methadone treatment. And a lot of those misconceptions, for example, people believe that the crime rate's high, the overdose rates are high, overdoses in public are happening. You're finding drugs and paraphernalia on the streets and in the playgrounds. Children are being affected because their parents are addicts. But in my opinion, these issues are related to society at large. And I believe these problems would decrease if more treatment facilities were available. If those treatment centers were shut down, thousands of people that are recovering and functioning properly would be relapsed back on the streets. What would happen to those crime rates and overdose rates? Skyrocket.
Where are you without methadone, you think?
Back on those streets or dead. Immediately. My children would not have their mother.
It's not like you walk around high all day or anything.
No. And that's a huge misconception of methadone. I'm not going to say that people don't nod off on methadone. But majority of the time, those people are taking something on top of that methadone and mixing, whether it be a prescribed drug for mental illness or whatever, or just using street drugs still. The methadone, you start your process, you up your dose gradually under doctor and nurse supervision. You have counseling, you have group meetings. And then when you reach that stable dose, that's where you stay for a minute. And you start working on the brain receptors, the emotional abuse and experiences that you've had throughout that addiction. And then when you're ready, you start tapering down. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, you're just switching addictions. Methadone is not an opiate. It has an opiate blocker. If I were to take a pill today, I would not get high on it. I just want people to know there's a lot of people trying to advocate to shut these treatment centers down and thinking that they're the problem. But the problem lies with the active addicts, not the recovering addicts. This recovery center has helped many begin to work, begin to go to school, be able to be the parent that they need to be. Without this treatment, we would be hurting again.
And you think you would be dead by now?
Absolutely. Because at that young 12-year-old level, I was doing prescription drugs. But on today's streets, we have gray death. We have crocodile. We have fentanyl laced with heroin. We have all of these things that people are creating. I don't think I would survive.